Okay, good morning. It's morning? It's 11, yeah. Good morning, ladies. Uh, we are going to, so today what we're going to do, we're going to look at the migration of the Asians. So like people like the Chinese and the Indians into the Caribbean. But before we do that, we're going to do our research. I'm going to ask someone to read and then we'll answer the question. All right. All right. So the first question, a reader for me, please.
In which territory revivalism in which territory is revivalism practiced?
All
A
right.
Okay.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Continue. Okay. A Jamaica, B Saint Vincent, C Saint Lucia, or D Haiti.
All right. Which one is the answer, class?
A Jamaica.
Jamaica.
A Jamaica.
All right. Good. Go ahead. Second question.
Sir, me too?
Yes, you can go ahead.
Oh, okay. Cassava, yams, dasheen, and edos represent A, part of the diet of slaves, B, root crops from the Amerindians, C, food brought by the Syrians, or D, root crops planted by Europeans.
Which one is the answer, class?
B.
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 Sir B.
I think it's
B.
B. B.
I say
B.
B.
B. Root crops from the Amerindians.
Amerindian.
I think it's B.
All right.
Or it could be
So
A.
who most people most people going with B? B as in boy.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Anybody
sir.
anybody disagree with B?
No.
All right. The answer is A, part of the diet of the slave. Because one of the things is that yam and dasheen actually came from Africa, and the Amerindians didn't use, right? Although cassava and the edos were used by the Amerindians. So the diet of the enslaved people, by the time the enslaved people arrived, they would have used incorporated cassava and edos, yam and dasheen as part of their diet. That is what they would have given them, right? So that's one of the reasons. Always remember that is yam is not from our region. Well, not originally from our region. All right. Next three. Reader, please. Who is volunteering to read?
Which religious groups were banned in between 1917 to 1951?
All right. Which religious group, ladies? Anyone? Go ahead. Read the responses, please, for me.
Revivalism and Protestant, Spiritual and Shooter Baptist,
Shouter
Voodoo,
Baptist.
Shouter Baptist,
Mm.
Voodoo and Santeria,
Santeria.
Santeria, Santeria and Revivalism.
All right. Which one was which groups? Go ahead, Lazarus.
I'm not sure, but
Sir, is it spiritual and Shouter Baptist?
Yes, you're correct. The answer is
which year was voodoo
spiritual and
founded?
Shouter Baptist. And those religions are popular in which territory?
Sir, Barbados?
Barbados,
Saint Vincent.
Trinidad.
Saint Vincent, Trinidad. Yes, the Eastern Caribbean. All right. The next one, you're good. Next question, another person can read for me.
Revivalism was formed in the year A, 1660, B, 1760, C, 1860, D, 1960.
The answer, ladies.
C, sir.
1860.
All right, 1860, correct. Next, 5.
Breadfruit and jackfish is the national dish for which territory? A, Guyana, B, St. Lucia, C, St. Vincent, or D, Barbados?
Which one is the answer? Which one we're going with?
C,
B,
C as in cat.
C as in cat, St. Vincent. Anyone else? Anybody disagree with C?
No, sir.
All right, St. Vincent. It's correct. Yes, next one. 6.
Koku and flying fish is popular on which island? A. Guyana, B. St. Lucia, C. St. Vincent, and D. Barbados.
Barbados.
Barbados. Very good. All right. 7.
In 1793, William, sir, can you pronounce that, please?
Bly.
Bligh arrived in the Caribbean with the breadfruit trees from Africa. On which Caribbean island was breadfruit first planted? A. St. Lucia, B. Jamaica, C. Barbados, D. St. Vincent.
What's the
Jamaica.
answer? Jamaica.
Jamaica.
Anybody disagree with Jamaica? Anyone? Everybody agree that it's Jamaica?
Yes, sir.
All
Sir,
right.
Yes, sir.
I'm not sure.
Go ahead, Rose.
Sir, maybe A. I'm not sure if it's B.
D, you're saying D as in dog?
No, sir. I said I'm not sure if it's Jamaica, but maybe it's A. St. Lucia.
All right. The answer is D as in dog. St. Vincent. And ladies, you never pick up a clue from here. I said it in the stuff yesterday. But breadfruit and jackfish.
Oh.
And if you say it is C here, then more likely why they would have breadfruit is because they were the first place to have breadfruit in the Caribbean. Right? So 7. 8.
Which island was known as the Helen of the West Indies? A. St. Lucia, B. Jamaica, C. Barbados, D. St. Vincent.
Which one is the answer?
St. Lucia.
St. Lucia.
Lucia.
St. Lucia. St. Lucia was known as the Helen of the West. Helen is in Greek mythology, is the most beautiful woman. All right. 9.
Excuse me, sir. What was the answer for number 8?
A.
St. Lucia.
Yes. St. Lucia. 9.
To what section of the slave trade does the Middle Passage refer? A. The journey from West Africa to the New World. B. The interior to the coast of West Africa. C. The Caribbean sugar plantations to Europe. Or D. West Africa to the slave trading ports of Europe.
Which one is the answer, ladies? Which one you go with?
Is it B?
Uh, Shannon, you're saying it's B as in boy,
B.
D as in dog, which is West Africa to the slave trading ports of Europe. Anybody
Yes, sir.
agree? All right. Anybody agree or disagree with this answer?
Sir, is it A?
I would say A.
It's
I would
A.
say A.
It's A, sir.
All right. The answer is A. The journey from West Africa to the New World. All right. I'm going to, and this is a very popular question on the exam.
Africans to Europe.
I'm going to come back to this one. Question. I'm coming back to question 10. Go ahead with 10. Someone can read 10 for me, please.
The
The
combination
combination, you can go.
the combination of different forms of belief or practice is called A. Syncretism, B. Reconquista, C. Encomienda, and D. Pluralism.
Which one are we
A.
going with?
A, sir. A.
A.
Syncretism, yes. So all the religions that we would have looked at yesterday are syncretic religions because they are both mixture of African with European form of Christianity. All right. So I just want to show you. I'm coming right now to the middle passage because it's a question that is always bring a question like that. You're still seeing the PowerPoint, correct?
No, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Is
sir.
okay, just the PowerPoint. All right, later I'm going to change. All right, ladies. So this is what is known as the triangular trade, right? So what is going to happen is that from Europe, Europeans are going to leave from Europe to West Africa with goods. When they reach West Africa, they are going to sell these goods, and after they sell the goods, they are going to exchange the goods for enslaved, well, for African who they are going to enslave, right? So they move from Europe to Africa, West Africa to be specific, where they exchange goods for enslaved Africans. Then they are going to leave from Africa with the enslaved people, take them to the Caribbean. Some of them are going to be taken to parts of South America, some of the enslaved people, Central America, and North America, right? So they are going to bring them to this side of the world. Then all the goods that the enslaved people were used to produce, you're going to take those goods and you're going to bring them back to you, right? So what is happening here? So all of this, it's like a triangle. It is called a triangular trade. Now the journey from here in West Africa to the Americas to this side is called the Middle Passage because it's the middle part of the second part or the middle part of the triangular trade. So the journey from here to here is the Middle Passage, and that journey is where they take enslaved Africans from Africa into the Americas. And our region that we're studying is the Caribbean. So from here to the Caribbean. So that is the Middle Passage. All right. And remember that's the Middle Passage because, and they used to call Africans black gold. Always remember this, ladies. And the Middle Passage is also considered to be the Black Hollow. So notice those words because they usually ask a question about about this journey right here. Okay?
Sir, you tripped out. The Middle Passage is also known as what?
Oh, the Middle Passage is the journey from West Africa to the Americas and so on this journey you take enslaved Africans, and enslaved Africans were actually called black gold. And because the journey was 6 weeks, but it was horrendous, they called, and a lot of persons died, Africans died on the journey. The journey is also considered to be the Black Holocaust. Over 15 million people were actually taken from West Africa into the Americas. All right?
Yes, sir.
Good. We are now through with the
Sir,
repeat. Go ahead.
are we going to go in depth about this?
Repeat, Lazarus.
Are we going to go in depth about the middle passage?
No, you don't need to go in depth with the Middle Passage. It's not a requirement for us to, it's not a requirement.
Okay. But like if we get
You're breaking up your mic. Okay. Are you now seeing are you seeing the PowerPoint?
No, sir.
No, sir.
You're seeing the PowerPoint now?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
All
Yes,
right,
sir.
good. So that's our recap. I think that we have done well thus far. So let us now look at the historical process timeline that we're using. Where on the timeline we are now in terms of study. What have we gone through?
Sir, we went through the Bering Strait and
Mm-hmm.
we went through the migration of the indigenous people in the Caribbean. Sir,
Yes.
I think we're at the arrival of Christopher Columbus.
Arrival of Christopher Columbus. All
No, sir.
right. Go go ahead.
Sir, we're at 1838, the coming of the indentured laborers.
All right. All right. Thank you very much. All right. So ladies,
Sorry
we are
about that.
repeat.
Sorry about that.
No, there's nothing to be sorry about. That is all right. All of us make mistake, man. The And it's really not a mistake. It's for me to gauge, the different concepts. You understand? It's
Yes,
part
sir.
it's part of my that's why I asked the question because I have to see if you're either reading or you're not reading or you're You understand the concept. So now I have to go back over it just a little for you to understand, right? So nothing to worry about. It is for you and for me. All right. So ladies, we would have gone through the Bering Strait with the different groups coming into the Americas. Then the indigenous peoples would have formed different settlements and they would have also ventured into the Caribbean. Then we have Christopher Columbus, which is the coming of the Spanish. So between this period here, 1492 and the 1600s, we would have looked at the European, the arrival of the European. So you remember when we look at the different impact of the European on the Caribbean, that's one of the reasons why we looked at the impact. So for this timeline here, we look at the impact of what are some of the impact of this group, the indigenous people on the Caribbean today. And we also went on to look at the impact of the European on the Caribbean today. And also last week and yesterday's class, we would have gone into the Africans, the coming of the Africans, and what are their impact on the Caribbean. So today we are at here on the timeline, 1838 to 1865, and we're looking at the coming of the indentured laborers, right? Now, when I use the word indentured and indentured workers, what is indentureship? Anybody? What is indentureship? Anyone has ever heard the word indentureship before?
So I think it's like when a person goes somewhere, like in a specific time to learn how to do something or like learn how to do a job.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure. Don't quote me on it.
All right. No
So,
problem. Yes, Sinclair.
so based on the definition, indentureship is the state or period of being a servant bound to service for a specific time in return for passage to a colony.
All right. Good. All right. So you're very cool. Both of you are close. Indentureship, if you live in 1838, late 19, no, 1838 is mid 19th century. The and you hear the word indentured. Indenture is actually contract. It's an old English word that actually means contract. So it's contract laborers. And so what is going to happen, ladies, uh, is that after slavery ended in 1838, the British government is going to embark on immigration schemes. The where they are going to seek workers from elsewhere. Okay. So, and so one of the reasons why they are going to seek workers elsewhere is to ease the labor problem in the Caribbean. Now, this was after slavery ended. My question, why was there a labor problem in the Caribbean? Anyone? Why was there a labor problem in the Caribbean?
Sir,
Go ahead, Gilbert.
because after slavery, when the enslaved were free and whatever, they decided that they didn't want to stay on the plantation because it reminded them too much of the horrors of the past. And so there was a large exodus of the once enslaved people. And oh,
Yes, you're correct.
and
Anyone?
then there oh,
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead. I thought that you were finished.
I was confirming with Shani, if isn't that when they started the free villages?
Yes, yes, that's the
Okay.
period when they would have left to start the free villages. Yes. Lazarus.
Well, and also, sir, the ones who did stay on the plantation, they they were fighting against like their wages because they wanted more money. So
Yes,
that was also one of the reasons.
very good, very good. Excellent points. And so they had a labor problem in the Caribbean, and not all the Caribbean countries, but especially the larger territories like Jamaica, Trinidad, Guyana that has quite a large land mass in terms of the size. Those territories had quite a lot of problems uh, when it when it came to labor. And one of the reasons is that after slavery ended, you don't want to remain on the plantation because of the trauma. And then the next thing is that after slavery ended, they would have gone through a period of apprenticeship where the apprenticeship, two reasons for apprenticeship was that they had to pay a portion for their freedom through work. And then the next thing is to train them to be free people. How you train somebody to be free people when you were actually born free? Now that's another story. So the the so what is happening here is that during the period of apprenticeship, you would have worked 8 hours. You had an 8 hour shift. And if you work any additional hour after 8 hours, the planter was supposed to pay you. Now, the planters didn't pay the enslaved people. And so, well, most of them didn't get paid. And so when slavery ended officially in 1838, the planters said, the enslaved people said, listen, I'm not going to work on this plantation because you have problem with paying people. You didn't pay me for, yes, you owe me money from apprenticeship. And now we in freedom. I don't think you're going to pay me any money. So some people just left the plantation. In territories like Barbados, enslaved people remained on the plantation and they worked because as slavery, because Barbados is, go ahead.
Wouldn't it be easier if they remained on the plantation because the cost for land, the cost that they had to pay was ridiculously high. So basically they forced them to stay on the plantation because they weren't paying them enough and they couldn't afford to buy land and start off on their own.
That's for Barbados.
Most of the same in general, while
In
most of them
general,
had to remain on the plantation.
no, to some extent, yes, to some extent, no. So for, in the situation of Barbados, they remained on the plantation to a large extent. Because as slavery ended, Barbados came up with a system where they allowed the former enslaved people to, to sign a contract. So they had a contract where they said, you live on the plantation, you work for me, I pay you X amount, this, that. So it it really continued. For land in Barbados was always expensive because land is scarce, right? But for Jamaica that had quite a lot of land and hills and mountains and valleys, same thing with Guyana and Trinidad, uh, those territories, especially for Jamaica and Guyana, which they are much larger territories, the enslaved people left because land in those territories were way cheaper. So the enslaved people, the former enslaved people, they are no longer enslaved, they are now free people. Those people would put money together to establish free villages, which we are going to look at next week. All right. So in terms of so we know for sure that there was a labor problem, and we know the reasons for the labor problem. Another reason is to reduce Black numerical superiority because most of the Caribbean territories are majority Black after slavery ended. And you don't want the entire Caribbean to have a look of Blackness. So what you're going to do, you're going to introduce new people into the territories, right? Challenge that. So you reduce the number of blacks in the Caribbean. The next thing, as Gilbert would have mentioned, is that wages was an issue. The former enslaved people wanted a certain amount of money, and the Africans, sorry, not the Africans, the planters refused to pay them the money, so they went and they sourced cheaper labor. All right. Now, there are several different groups that actually came to the Caribbean. We have the Indians, because at the time, India was a British colony. And so the British were able to go to their colony and get workers to come into the Caribbean to fill that void. Now, Chinese has always been coming to the Caribbean. Um, Not all, I shouldn't say always, but one of the first places that the Chinese would have gone would have been in, no, at this time the Chinese.
Wait, sir,
Yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
can you just briefly go over what exactly was happening in these countries why it was so easy to convince them to come to the Caribbean?
Where?
I think it was, I don't remember which country specifically,
In
but they had
India?
some, yes, so they had some economic problems or something
The
like that. They
caste
were
system.
really, yeah, they
You're
were
talking about
really
the caste
poor,
system.
and then they told them that if they come to the Caribbean, they're gonna work their money and stuff like that.
Yes. So what is going to happen is that in most of these territories, that in India, in Germany, China, all of these different places, the poverty was there and they were going through a lot of diseases. So it was easy for people to leave, especially in India that has had a caste system. People wanted to leave that caste system and come into the Caribbean, right? Uh, so what is happening is that you're going to have Indians coming in, Chinese coming in, indentured workers, the Portuguese or the Nigerians coming in, Germans coming in, Javanese coming in and liberated Africa. One of the reasons why a lot of Portuguese and Germans came into the region at this time is to help to build up the number of whites in the Caribbean, right? To increase the European numbers here, to reduce black numerical superiority, but it was not successful. So most of these were some of the groups that actually came, but the two groups that we're going to focus on, we're going to focus on the Indians and the Chinese. So they are coming in, the different groups are coming in, and one of the major impact that is going to have is our demographic impact. And so James Ferguson said that the massive movement of people changed the demography of the culture of British Guyana and Trinidad. Now, over 400,000 Indians arrived in the Caribbean. 240,000 went to British Guyana, which is now Guyana. When they became independent, they changed the spelling of the name and they dropped the British. 135,000 to Trinidad, 33,000 Jamaica, 40,000 Guadeloupe, 2,500 Grenada, zero went to Barbados. And as I mentioned before, one of the reasons why they didn't go into Barbados was because of after slavery ended, Barbados came up with a favorable plan to encourage the former enslaved people to remain on the plantation. Once you have the different groups coming in, I don't have the figures for the Chinese and the other group, right? With me. But the you're going to have racial mixtures. The the indigenous, not the indigenous, the East Indians are going to mix with the Africans, and in Trinidad, That mixture is called Douglas. The African going to mix with Chinese, the Chinese going to mix with Indian, and you could have somebody who is a product of Chinese and Indian, or if we want to call them Chai Indian, don't use that term. There's no term for them. Just biracial. And then somebody else, that offspring go and mix with the African, then you have all of these different groups or people mixing. So for example, if we look at Lisa Anna, one side of her family is Chinese, another side is Indian mixed with African. And so you realize that if you look at her, she has quite a lot of you can't tell you could I'm not sure if you could tell, but it I could not distinguish or tell her that she had Chinese root. I couldn't tell from if she never said I couldn't tell. But and strong Chinese root. So but you can you know from her that there's Indian and for sure there's African, and that's one of the reasons why the ear is not so her hair texture is what it is. So we have quite a lot of racial mixture going on in the Caribbean. A friend of mine, his mother side of the family was Chinese, and his father, so his mother side was Chinese and African mixture. So if you call them Black Chinese, that's not a term. I don't think it's a record. And then you have his father who was from the German descendants that came to Jamaica during this period. So his mixture is German with Chinese African that mix. You can when he depends on how he combs his hair, you will see whether you could see several different features. So one, him look Hispanic. If him put back him hair a certain way, if him curl him hair a certain way, it might look Chinese. Another time he do his hair a particular way, it might look like somebody who is, like at JC, them used to call him white boy, right? Although it wasn't a white. So so we have all of these different racial mixtures going on in the region. And that's why we are in the Caribbean today. We have people that look all the different groups or countries that you visit. People, we have so much diversity of phenotype in the region. The next thing that they is going to arrive in the region is the different culinary practices, food. And my favorite food is Indian food. I is my best is the best food ever. Indian food, the best food. So you have curry, roti, chickpeas, jeera. Jeera is like a seasoning, various pepper, eggplants. I think they call it Bajan. Alo, which is like potato, which is potato in the Indian language, and rice. On the idea of the concept of rice, some scholars say that rice came from Africa and the Africans brought it here. Some say it is the Chinese, some say the Indian. Anyway, I don't know if it is the Chinese, the African, or the Indian. However, one thing I'm very sure of, on Sunday, I'm having rice and right with whatever meat kind that my wife is cooking or I am cooking. Okay. So on that note, we have all of these nice dishes in our Caribbean culinary arts or design or whatever. The next thing, ladies, is that the Chinese also going to bring certain food here. Noodles. I see a lot of you in the morning if they if the canteen don't have a what you call that noodle again? That cup, the ramen noodle. And I don't think we can manage some students. And so noodles are very, very popular. The noodles also came from what the Americans took the Chinese noodle and popularized macaroni. The Americans, they steal everything. So they popularized macaroni. So all the forms of various noodles came from China. The different sauces, wonton, pop chow, the Chinese style meat. Most of us eat the sweet and sour chicken, beans, black beans, sauce, chicken, something like that. The stir fry and all of these different stuff, Chinese food, very popular in the region, right? And we have Chinese restaurant, Indian restaurant. The another thing that came from India that is very popular in our region today is mango. And I think that is the best fruit in the world. Don't care what mango it is. And I'm very thankful for the Indians for bringing mango here in the Caribbean. We have all different types of mango. We have this one that we call East Indian mango. It's very, very sweet for those of you who are familiar with East Indian mango. We also have Julie mango, which I think is, I wouldn't say I have a favorite mango, but I prefer Julie mango because when you finish the seed and take off all the flesh, it is evident that you would have labored well, right? But with the when it come with when it comes to the East Indian, it's very sweet and the skin is a little thicker. And so it's a mango that you have to suck and you can't see the fruit of your labor so quickly, but I'm a quick eater. So I just love the the Julie mango because it's quick. You can take a spoon and you can just quickly eat that mango and less mess. I find you have less mess when you have a good. We have all different types of mango that come into the region. We have black tea, stringy. We give it all different type of name, number, all different type of mango in the region, right? So they would have contributed to our food in the region. Another thing, ladies, is religion. The Indians and the Chinese have also brought their religion here, just like how the Africans brought their religion and the Europeans brought their religion. So in countries like Trinidad and Guyana, we have a lot of Muslims who practice Islam and Hindu who practice Hinduism, Chinese, the Buddhism. So we have all of these different religious groups coming in. In Trinidad, you have quite a lot, and Ghana, uh, most of the, almost 50% of the territories is either 50% of the people there is either Islam or Hindu, right? Christianity is not like, it's a popular religion, but it's not the most popular, if you get what I'm saying. Just like in Jamaica, where if you ask anybody if they're Christian, 90% of the people say, oh, we're Christian. But in those countries, you'll find maybe about 40% say that they are Christian and 45% say that they are from one of these Hindu religion, either Islam or Hindu. And I think people don't know the difference between Islam in Hinduism or Judaism. Some people believe that Islam is Judaism, and some people believe that all Indians are Hindu. No. And then you also have Indians who came to the region and adopted Christianity, and also not only adopted Christianity, but they would have also, by the time the British colonized India, they would have brought Christianity to India. So some of them actually came here as Christians, and they would have practiced things like, but not a lot. So they came. So you have Indians who are Christians also, and Chinese who are Christians. The church that most Indians and Chinese attend is the Roman Catholic Church. So if you're a Roman Catholic, you'll realize that most of your congregation tend to be people either from Chinese descent or Indian descent, right? So that is one. And when you come with your, what do you call this now? Your religion, you're coming with your festival. So you're coming with things like Diwali, Holi or Pagwa. This is one of their Islamic feasts. Can't pronounce that. Uh, Ose, all of these different Indian feasts they are coming here with, right? And it's add to the flavor of the region. In Jamaica, we don't have these as national holidays, but in Trinidad and Guyana, these are national holidays where people actually they don't go to work, right? For these days. In the Chinese are going to come with Dragon Dance Festival and the Chinese New Year. And if you know the Chinese Benevolent Association, which is on Old Oak Road, right in front of Jamaica College, there's a lot of they do the Chinese New Year celebration right there every January. It's a very fun event, ladies. You pay a you give a contribution. So I would suggest that if you have never experienced it before, once your time has once COVID has expired, then you can go to one of those celebrations. They are going to come, the Indians are coming into the region with their different music and dance, chutney, soca, musical instrument, all of these different stuff. I'm not getting, from my research, I'm not seeing where the Chinese, because they're a closed group, the Indians socialize well with the Europeans and the Africans. But the Chinese tend to stay within their own grouping, right? There's less interaction. So we are not familiar with like the Chinese dances, music, and all of these. The dress, Indians are coming in with their also. They're dressed very beautiful clothing from India. I believe out of the world, the Chinese, not the Chinese, the Indians and the Africans, their clothing are very, very beautiful. That's just my bias. Very beautiful clothing coming from China and sorry, from India. This sari and the shalwar is what the females wear, and I think that is the kurta and the hoti is what the males actually wear. And so they are introducing these countries. If you go to certain countries in the Caribbean, you're going to see a lot of people wearing these the Indian wear instead of the 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 European wear, like what we are accustomed. The coming into the region also is that they're going to influence our language. The Chinese all over Jamaica, one in Jamaica, every person who is a Chinese of Chinese descent, and if you're a Chinese man, is Mr. Chin. No, it's not. That's not their name alone. You have Chin, yes, which is one name, but you have also Chang, you have Cheng, Chong, Chow, Fong, Yu, Li, Lim, Lin, Wang. All of these names are Chinese surnames in Jamaica. And in Suriname and Suriname and Trinidad, and I maybe should add Guyana to it, their dialects, there's a lot of Indian words. So their dialects like aloe, which actually means potato, or Bajan, which actually is eggplant. And we have quite a lot of Indian surnames also in the Caribbean with the coming of the Hindus. Same about the Hindus. With the coming of the Chinese and the Indians. So we have, for example, Bua Singh, which is your vice principal's name. Uh, sing. I went to school with Mike Poo, with somebody by the name of Mike Poo. There, Maraj, I taught a student last year, very nice student with the last name Maraj. Uh, Bandu is another name. I think I know a friend of mine with that last name. So we are quite very much familiar with these Indian last names in the Caribbean today. Next, economic impact. The Indians are coming with jewelry stores, and tropical jewelry is one of the major stores that would have established here in Jamaica. The Indians, they own quite a lot of jewelry stores and restaurants. No, I think after the Chinese went into the restaurant industry, they followed. And the Chinese also open a lot of restaurants and wholesales, supermarket. Almost all the supermarkets here in Jamaica, I believe, have
And the
repeat
Indians
it,
and Syrians, the Indians and Syrians also have a lot of furniture stores and
furniture.
haberdasheries.
Yes, you're correct. You're correct. And the wholesales in Jamaica, that culture of wholesale where people go and you go with a list. When I used to live in Spanish Town or and Linstead, and right here in Halfway Tree, they there's a wholesale over Clock Tower. I believe you have several wholesales over here. You go right now, wholesales get very sophisticated. It's not like back then where you used to go and call out for your food. You say 10 pound of rice, 10 pound of sugar, three mackerel, Right now you can send in your list on what you call it, WhatsApp and go and pick up your grocery, right? The modernized type of the wholesale, but wholesales have really helped people in the Caribbean, especially well, wholesale is popular in Jamaica. Uh, the other countries call them variety stores, but wholesale is very popular here in Jamaica, and that culture was developed by the Chinese here. It helps us because the truth is that the goods are a little cheaper, and the Chinese don't tend to overprice their goods. They sell it at a little, they sell it cheaper, so people will buy the good, right? I believe Mega Mart, the Azans are the Syrians who actually came here. Um, Super Plus. Anybody remember Super Plus? Are you too
Yes,
young?
sir.
Yes, Super Plus. The Chinese used to own Super Plus. Brooklyn Supermarket. I believe they still own Brooklyn Supermarket. Somebody of Chinese descent. And is that Lee Food Fair?
Yeah.
Yes, that one is up. So some of the major, and then the other one, which is by Barbican, which is a more expensive version of Shoppers Fair. I think the
This
same
is
per
Fontana.
yeah, it's not Fontana. It's Fontana. It's Barbican, that supermarket. That is very expensive.
Is it
The one in
Lushosan?
Sessions?
Yes, that same one. Same Chinese own that store. Very expensive supermarket. So if you go there, maybe some of you shop there, but it is if you have, so for example, the price is disparity is very wide for the same good. It's highway robbery, but I guess it's cater for expat. Is a supermarket that cater for the expat, those who come here from abroad, the diplomats, because most of them live within that area. So I guess they cater. Uh, but we know the Chinese and the wholesales and what they have done in terms of our economy. What do you notice about Guyana? This is one political leader here from for one party, one political leader for another party. What do you realize with Guyana in terms of the political parties? Anyone? Just an observation. Burke? It's a quick observation. Repeat, sir. What is the what do you observe from the picture of the two leaders in Ghana? Political leaders.
Mixed.
If mix anybody else? Sinclair, you want to help?
I just see that they're both they're of different race. One is more of African descent, one is like an Dougla or Indian descent.
All right, good, excellent. Now there are two leaders. One is in African, and one is Indian. So the political parties in Guyana, also in Trinidad, it's based on whether you're African or whether you're Indian, right? So that is very bad. You know, politics can be very divisive already and tribal, especially in Jamaica. We're not especially Jamaica. We see it last night on the TV between the one that the fly went on and Kamala.
Oh yes, sir.
Hence,
So
Mike Pebs.
hence,
we're not even going to the fly purse.
his name is
So
Pence.
so what happened here, ladies, is that we have two political parties where we have groups, two groups of people are based on race. Politics is based on their group. Not good. We don't have that issue here in Jamaica. Same thing with Trinidad. One leader African, the other leader is of India descent. And Trinidad is moving a little way better than Guyana because in Trinidad you have more of people crossing political lines now. So, you can't look at an Indian and say, oh, you have to support the Indian party. Some of the Indian actually support the black, and some of the black actually support the Indian party, right? And so this lady who is the opposition leader currently in Trinidad, and she's former Prime Minister in Trinidad, Kamala Bissessor, she taught at St. Andrew High School for Girls. You knew that, ladies?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Yes. So the current opposition leader for Trinidad and the first female Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, her first job was at St. Andrew High School for Girls, right? Good. So she taught there in the 1970s. She taught history and she also taught English. Those were two subjects that she taught at St. Now, ladies, this when you see your teachers, don't go on your teachers, you know, 'cause your teachers can become prime minister, right? So most some students love to go and complain on the teacher, and then the next 10 years from now, the teacher leave, go and further themselves, and then two they say that they become prime minister. When I was going to school, she just won a seat in the election. Carencia, Carencia last name Morrison. She uh she's the one that said that they are going to turn PMP in a museum. She's a member of the JP right now. She taught me in high school. She taught me at JC, and now she is into politics. I used to give that teacher so much trouble. You used to eat in a teacher class. All different type of something I used to do. Anyway, but she know me. She was a very fun teacher. But no, she involved in politics. People move on from this stuff. Now, the point I'm trying to make is that there are going to be tensions in the society. Not so much in Jamaica because I don't see much tension between the Indians and the Africans in Jamaica, but in China, Trinidad and Guyana, it is very bad. You have tensions, conflict over work, racial stereotype. Even the term coolie is very derogatory, should not be used. And political parties are based on racial, on ethnic lines, and also the the another point I want to make, the Chinese here in Jamaica have a strong feeling that there's a deep hatred towards the Chinese group here. But we need to remember that the Chinese who came after 1838, they are Jamaicans because they are born here, lived here for how many years? Almost 100+ years. Yes, quite a long time they would have lived here. And the Chinese who are just coming in to build the roads are different from those Chinese. And so what people usually do is to group all the Chinese in one. Not should not happen. Another point that I believe I would have missed early on here is language. The Chinese language is still spoken in most Caribbean countries, not by everybody, but by the Chinese themselves. We go to the Chinese man shop and we hear the families talking. They could be saying, "Look at this one. Watch him, might be going to steal something." You don't know. You laugh and say, "Ha, I miss Sachin, how you do this morning?" But you must say, "Look at your thief," in their language. But in reality, ladies, we have the Chinese language still. It's one of the languages that we actually hear in the region. And the Indian didn't reserve their language or preserve their language here. The Africans didn't. The Chinese have done well in preserving their language. All right, ladies, so that's it for today. Any question?
No, sir.
No, sir.
All right, good. So we meet again on Monday where we're going to look at, I think we're going to look at the diaspora again. Bye, ladies.
Bye,
Bye,
sir.
sir.
Bye, sir.
Bye bye.